Imagine for a moment that it's 1940. Europe is in ruins. France, once thought invincible, collapsed in just a few weeks. The British army barely escaped at Dunkirk, leaving behind all its equipment. Hitler now owned the stage, and standing between him and total domination of the continent was just one stubborn island: Great Britain. Today, we're diving into the story of a handful of young pilots who defied the Nazi war machine in a battle that saved the world, the most legendary and insane air battle of all time. A story of strategy, desperation, and, of course, an epic mistake that changed the fate of the planet. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the hidden stories of World War II. To understand the madness about to unfold, you need to meet the two heavyweights. On one side, Hermann Göring's Luftwaffe, the German Air Force, considered unstoppable. It had crushed everything in its path in Poland, Norway, and France, and now its claws were aimed at Britain. On the other, the Royal Air Force, a kind of David against a mechanized Goliath. Fewer planes, fewer pilots, and for many, zero chance. The Luftwaffe's mission was simple: destroy the RAF both in the air and on the ground, so that Operation Sea Lion, the amphibious invasion of Britain, could move forward. The stage was set. The theater, the gray skies above the English Channel. The battle began with a violent prelude, straight out of an action movie. The Germans attacked ships in the Channel, aiming to lure and exhaust British pilots. The air battles were chaotic and brutal. RAF Hurricanes and Spitfires facing off against Heinkel bombers and Messerschmitt fighters. The Germans, with their lightning-fast tactics, gained the initial edge, but the British were stubborn. Every time a British plane was shot down, the pilot could eject, and if he survived, be back in the air within hours. A German pilot shot down over England, though, he was done, literally out of the war. That geographic advantage, arrogantly underestimated by the Luftwaffe, would prove decisive. If this already sounds insane, wait for the mistake that changed everything. Stay with me until the end. You'll be surprised. The real madness began on August 13th, Eagle Day. The Luftwaffe launched its main offensive, the Adlerangriff. Göring's orders were clear: destroy RAF airfields, radar stations, and aircraft factories. What followed was an aerial bloodshed. Wave after wave of bombers, escorted by hundreds of fighters, stormed across the skies of England. RAF pilots, nicknamed the Few by Winston Churchill, took off again and again, knowing that each sortie could be their last. Göring's plan seemed to be working. British airfields were being reduced to rubble. Runways, repair stations, everything lay in ruins. The Luftwaffe was on the brink of achieving air superiority. The RAF was exhausted. Even reserve pilots were flying, some with just a few hours of training. Dowding's defense system was stretched to its breaking point. It seemed that Britain's defeat was only days or even hours away. And then came the biggest plot twist of World War II. From his headquarters in France, Hermann Göring made the fatal mistake of his career. Convinced that the RAF was already collapsing, he shifted the Luftwaffe's focus from airfields to London. The reason? Revenge. The British had bombed Berlin, and a furious Hitler demanded retaliation. It was the dumbest and most brilliant decision the Allies could have hoped for. While the Blitz unleashed terror on London's civilians, turning the city into a nightmare of fire and rubble, the RAF airfields finally had a chance to recover. Runways were repaired, planes fixed, and most importantly, exhausted pilots rested. On the ground, chaos reigned. Families rushed into shelters, houses collapsed, and the city burned. But in the skies, the tide of the battle began to turn. On September 15th, the Luftwaffe launched its biggest daylight attack against London, hoping to finally break the RAF's back. But this time, the British were ready. From every restored airfield, hundreds of fighters scrambled into the skies. London's skies became a canvas of smoke, fire, and twisted metal. Using Dowding's defensive tactics and the power of radar, the RAF outmaneuvered the German formations. The Luftwaffe suffered catastrophic losses. This was the turning point. On September 17th, Hitler, realizing air superiority was impossible, indefinitely postponed Operation Sea Lion. He had lost the Battle of Britain. The Battle of Britain was the first major strategic defeat of Nazi Germany. It was a victory of persistence, intelligence, and above all, a monumental enemy mistake. It proved that Blitzkrieg wasn't invincible. And most importantly, it saved the world, because if Britain had fallen, the rest of history would have been completely different. This was history's greatest wingman moment. Human history is full of epic moments and unbelievable twists, and this was one of them. What about you? Which historical twist shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Enjoyed this trip through history? Smash that like button and share it with a friend who loves wartime stories. And of course, hit the bell so you don't miss the next episodes. See you next time.